Okay, guys, are you ready? Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the American Corner program. My name is Alina. I am the coordinator of American Corner Shymkent. I am the host of the meeting. Thank you for joining us. Today, I am here with my colleagues from Karaganda, Alfia.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. So my name is Sophia. I'm the coordinator of American Corner Karaganda.
Thank you, Alfia. Alfia and I are happy to introduce to our guests, Regional Protection Officer, United Nations High Commissioner from Refugees, Central Asia, Vitalina Krylovska.
Hi, good afternoon.
And the Senior Protection Associate, United Nations High Commissioner from Refugees, Kazakhstan, Nurlubek Shinali.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Our speakers are happy to inform us about humanitarian help refugees and asylum-seekers receive. Vitalina and Nurlubek will start with a quiz to see what you already know. They then will present for 25-30 minutes. Afterwards, there will be time for questions. To start, I ask the participants to turn off your microphones. You may ask your questions at the end of the presentation or write them in the chat box. We will try to answer all of them. Thank you. And now I give the floor to our guests, please. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexandra. I work for Unhcr as a communications assistant, and we will now have a short quiz. And one question for you: which way will be easier for you? Maybe you will use the reactions option. Now I ask the participants of this session. You see the reactions in the below section. So if you press it, click on it, you will see two reactions. So when I ask you a question, please react, and then you can answer. Okay, I will start now. Can you please let me know if you can see the screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. I think if I share my screen, I won't be able to see your reactions. So we will have to probably, okay, whoever first knows the answer, just turn on your mic and answer, okay? So you know that today's session is dedicated to the World Humanitarian Day. And you know that we work for the UN Refugee Agency, so today's quiz will be also all about refugees. The first question is, a refugee is someone who has left their country of nationality because, and on the right side, you have to choose one incorrect answer. Okay, I will read them. First, they are at risk of persecution for membership of a particular social group or political opinion. B, they are not happy with their wages, they can't buy a new mobile phone or have holidays. C, they have a well-founded fear for not returning to their country. And D, they are at risk of persecution for reasons of their race, religion, and or nationality. Okay, which answer is incorrect?
May I answer?
Sure.
It's B.
Let's see. And this is correct. A refugee is someone who has left their country of nationality, not because they're not happy with their wages and not because they can buy a new mobile phone or have holidays. Thank you. This is correct. Okay. These are just some illustrations of some refugees. Next question. What does the term asylum mean as an overall definition? I think I won't read all the answers, just look at them, quickly read them, and then whoever wants to answer, just go ahead. Okay, any volunteers?
I'm not sure.
Yerasil, if you want to answer, you can just go ahead.
It's C. I'm not sure yet.
Let's check. It's
Okay.
actually B. The asylum is a place where people can stay away from danger. Okay, next question. How do you think, what has happened to the number of refugees globally over the last few years? It stayed the same, the number decreased, or it has increased, or it has increased by a significant amount? I encourage the other participants also to participate. Just turn on your mic and don't be shy.
I guess it increased.
So you think it's C? Any other
Yeah.
options? Any other volunteers who want to also answer?
Maybe it's C. I don't know. Maybe A.
Okay, thank you. You guys are almost correct. It has increased. But if you look at the numbers, at the data from 2015 and 2018, you see the difference is quite significant. So the answer is the number has increased by a significant amount. Thank you. The next question. Which countries have accepted the most refugees globally? Turkey, Pakistan, Lebanon, Germany, UK, Greece, or United States, Canada, and Australia?
My answer is B.
B. Who else?
My answer is A.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Oh, sorry. I think I missed the slide, but yes, this is the right side. The answer is A. It's Turkey and Lebanon. Thank you.
I didn't know that.
We will not talk about the reasons. I think my colleagues will talk more about that. Okay. Who of the following is the refugee? Batman, Superman, Captain America, or Spider-Man?
B.
B?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other opinions and answers? Maybe
C.
Okay. B or C. So it's Superman or the Captain America. Let's see. Yerasil, you were right. It's Superman.
Yeah.
We will talk about it later. Okay. When is the World Refugee Day? August 20th, June 20th, July 20th, December 20th.
I guess it's A.
A.
My
So,
option is A.
Okay. Okay. So you think the World Refugee Day is today?
I'm not sure.
Actually, today is the World Humanitarian Day.
Oh, okay.
Which is also an important date, but the whole world celebrates World Refugee Day on June 20th. Okay, What are the main reasons for the large increase in the number of refugees globally? How do you think? A, war and conflict, B, political persecution, C, economic crisis, D, climate change.
I
All of
think
them.
it's,
War, maybe.
yeah, I think it's A, but partly it could be like C, economic crisis.
Okay. Yeah, so you, I heard A and also C.
Yeah.
I think all of these reasons contribute to the large increase, but the largest reason is A, war and conflict. Thank you.
Unfortunately.
Okay. When did Kazakhstan ratify the 1951 convention? Anyone knows?
No.
It could be in 1997.
Actually, it's very close.
Okay.
It's 1999. Very good. Okay, a little more fun part. It's called Did You Know These People Were Refugees? I'll just show you a picture, but the face will be hidden. And also I will give you some hints and you will have to guess. Okay, this is the easiest. Hint. Physics.
Einstein.
Yes, Einstein. Okay, it's Albert Einstein. The next one, also very easy.
Freddie Mercury.
Yes, that's pretty easy. It's Freddie Mercury, the Queen lead singer.
Maybe.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I thought so.
Can you repeat? Sorry, I missed some of the girls.
Jackie Chan.
Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, or someone else?
Jackie, really?
Yes, it's Jackie Chan. Thank you. The next one. We already...
Superman.
Superman.
Oh, finally.
He fought for justice, power. He was an alien and a hero. Okay, we will briefly look into his story. You know that his real name was Clark Kent. And I have some questions for you to understand why he was a refugee. Where was he born?
He was born at another planet, which was called, I'm not sure, Klask, or I'm not sure.
I think the fact that he was born on a different planet is enough. So thank you. Yes, he wasn't born on Earth. He was born on a different planet. And where did he spend the rest of his life?
On Earth.
I think his planet was called Krypton or something like that.
Yeah, Krypton.
So why is he a refugee? Can anyone answer?
Well, his planet was absorbed by some black hole or something, and his parents sent him to the Earth by some spaceship capsule or something. And yeah, Earth became his home.
So he had to flee his mother planet, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
and he was orphaned by American woman, I guess.
What was his mission on Earth?
To help people, save people, to protect the Earth.
Yes, everything you said is correct, and thank you for your answers and for your participation. I hope it was interesting for you. Now I pass the floor to my colleagues.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sasha. It was interesting because I've learned a lot about Superman. I I didn't know some of the, yeah, his real name. I forgot. But you did cover quite a lot of our presentation today, so I hope it still will be interesting for you. If you still have some questions, and after this quiz, I hope it will be more clear as we go along the presentation. So today we are here because this presentation is also dedicated to the World Humanitarian Day. Our World Refugee Day we commemorated on 20th of June, but on 19th of August, the whole world commemorates World Humanitarian Day. And this day was designated in memory of the 19 August 2003 bombing in Baghdad, in Iraq, when 22 people were killed, including the chief humanitarian in Iraq, Sergio Vieira de Mello. And in 2009, the United Nations General Assembly formalized the day as World Humanitarian Day. And the same day also marks UNHCR Staff Memorial Day. It's a moment in which we honor our colleagues who lost their lives while they were on duty. And this year, COVID has been the biggest challenge to humanitarian operations around the world, and the lack of access to and restriction of movement around the world has also resulted in communities, civil society, local NGOs being at the front line of the response. So next slide, please. Yes, so United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, or UNHCR, is the office where we work with Nurbek and Sasha. And it was created in 1950, so almost 70 years ago. In December this year, we will be celebrating 70 years. After the Second World War, there were many people who were displaced and they needed support. So our organization was created for 3 years, and it was to help millions of Europeans who were displaced, for some of them to return home, for some of them who could not return back home due to different reasons, to find another solution. And we had 3 years to complete our work and then to disband. However, unfortunately, 70 years later, we are still working because the number of conflicts has not decreased, but rather increased. The number of people who were forced to leave their countries significantly increased, as we could see from the quiz. And together with the partners and communities, we work together to ensure that everyone has right to seek asylum and find safe refuge in another country. We also strive to secure lasting solutions, and we are non-political and humanitarian agency. Next slide, please. Most of our staff, yes, thank you. So most of our staff, 90% of our staff, work in the field. We work in 135 countries. We have over 17,000 personnel, and 90% of them, they are based in the deep field. Sometimes it's very difficult to reach because there are off-roads, there are not good roads to reach people who were displaced, forcibly displaced from their homes. Sometimes we have to use boats to reach people. We have to wear vests because it's not secure in the country. We work closely with the government to ensure that the 1951 convention is honored. And just yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So the 1951 Refugee Convention, as of today, it is ratified by 145 state parties, including Kazakhstan, as we learned from the quiz, is the key legal document that forms the basis of UNHCR work and is the main international instrument of the refugee law. The convention clearly spells out who refugee is, and we already learned a little bit, but then we will go to the legal definition and what legal protection and other assistance and social rights refugee has and receives from the government who acceded to the convention or where refugees are. The convention also defines refugees' obligation to host governments, because refugees, they have also certain obligations. And it also specifies the certain categories of people, such as criminals, war criminals, for example, they are not qualifying for refugee status. The core principle of the Refugee Convention is non-refoulement, which means that a refugee cannot be returned to a country where he or she can be in danger, or his life or her life is at risk. And UNHCR serves as the guardian of the 1951 Convention and its 1967 protocol, and states are expected to cooperate with UNHCR in ensuring that the rights of refugees are respected and protected. So convention next year will be 70 years of the convention. And the Global Compact refugees, it's represent the political will and ambitions of the international community for cooperation and solidarity with refugees and affected host countries. So because most of refugees, when their life in danger, they cannot just buy tickets, they cannot take planes and just go to any country they want or any place they want. Sometimes they are forced to flee within minutes to save lives. Sometimes they have nothing with them. They cannot take, some refugees cannot take documents, money, nothing. Just for them is important that families are around and just they are together. So on 17 December 2018, the United Nations General Assembly affirmed the Global Compact on Refugees after 2 years of extensive consultations led by UNHCR with member states, international organizations, refugees, civil societies, the private sector, and experts. It is a framework, the Global Compact on Refugees is a framework for more predictable and equitable responsibility sharing, recognizing that a sustainable solution to refugees situations cannot be achieved without international cooperation. So to support refugees, everyone should work together, otherwise one country cannot achieve it. It has 4 key objectives. First one is to ease pressure on host countries. Host countries is those countries that receive refugees, and usually these are the neighboring countries. And as we learned from the quiz, the highest number of refugees is in Turkey, Pakistan. So they are not very rich countries. The second key objective of the Global Compact on Refugees is to enhance refugee self-reliance, because refugees, it would be good if they support themselves, they can work, because many of them, they're really skilled. The next objective is to expand across access to third country solutions, because for some refugees, they cannot remain in the host country. So a solution that can be is to go to another country. And the last one is to support conditions in countries of origin for return in safety and dignity, because refugees, most refugees, they want to go back to their homes, because in homes they have relatives, they have, I mean, it's home, but they cannot until certain conditions are met. Next slide, please. So who are people of concern to UNHCR? We have 4 categories of people: is refugees and asylum seekers, stateless people, returnees, and internally displaced people. Refugees are those who fled conflict or persecution, they crossed the border. They are defined and protected in international law. They must not be expelled or returned to a situation where their life and freedom are at risk. Asylum seeker is an individual whose request for asylum has yet to be processed. So the person is not, after the process, asylum seeker may become refugee or maybe not, because not every asylum seeker is a refugee. And every year, around 1 million of people seek asylum in different countries. Stateless people, they do not have a nationality, and they can struggle to realize their human rights. They often are not allowed to go to school, to see a doctor. They cannot get a legal job. They are forced to work illegally. Often they don't have documents. They cannot open even bank account because without documents or for example, residency, it's just impossible. Or buy house, or even in some countries they cannot, or in many countries they cannot get married because they cannot provide documents. Returnees are refugees who finally can go back home when in their countries situation is such that they can safely go and in dignity go home. And internally displaced people are those who have not crossed a border. They're still, unlike refugees, they are on their run at home. They are in different parts of their country. Maybe they also maybe run for the same reasons as refugees, but the difference, they have not crossed the border. Next slide, please. So, yeah, there is a legal definition of a refugee, and a refugee is someone who is outside of his country because they are afraid for his or her life, because of his or her race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, political opinion. And he or she cannot go back, because if they go back, then again the life will be in danger, or something can happen to them. So this definition of a refugee appears in the 1951 convention and relating to refugees. And the convention provides the internationally recognized general definition of the term refugee. Yeah. Next slide, please. So a little bit about numbers. Sasha already mentioned during the quiz that the number significantly increases. And as you can see from the slide, there are nearly 80 million people right now at the end of 2018, of those who were forced to leave their homes. It's the highest number they ever, I mean, since the Second World War. 1% of them, there are 26 million are refugees, and over 4 million are asylum seekers. So it means that maybe at the end of the year, some of the asylum seekers may be granted refugee status, so they may become refugees, and the number may increase for refugees. As you see, the highest number of refugees is in Turkey, followed by Colombia, then Pakistan, Uganda, and on the 5th place, I think it's since 2018, first time European country is on the list of the top hosting countries. And most people who fled their countries are Syrians. They're over 6 million, 6.6 million, and half of them, or even more than half, are in neighboring country in Turkey. And then Venezuelans, Afghans, nearly 3 million, and then South Sudan, Myanmar. There are over 4 million stateless people, but we don't know the real numbers of it's those that we know that they are stateless, but the number may be even higher. And over 5 million only could go back to their countries. About 40% of people who were forced to flee their children. Can we go next slide, please? Yeah, so in UNHCR in Central Asia, we have 4 offices. We have multi-country office based in Almaty. It's where I'm based. We have office in Nur Sultan, where Nurulbek is based. We have another office in Kyrgyzstan in Bishkek and office in Tajikistan. But from Almaty, we also support refugees who are in Uzbekistan and in Turkmenistan. So most of the offices were opened, we started operating UNHCR in Central Asia in most of the countries in mid-90s, in some 1993, 1995. Four of the countries acceded to the 1951 convention, except Uzbekistan. And in these 4 countries, there is national asylum procedure. So anyone who comes to any of these countries, they apply to the government, to relevant authorities for asylum. And then after that, it's the government decides if the person is a refugee or not. And in terms of statelessness, Turkmenistan is the only country in Central Asia that has acceded to the Statelessness Convention. So I see one question, when UNHCR was founded in 1950, so nearly 70 years ago. It will be in December, we will be 70. The main office, we have headquarters in Geneva. But when it had been founded, it's an interesting question, to be honest. I need to do a little bit more research because I would assume it's probably Geneva, but now I never thought of this question. I don't know if Nurulbek knows. And shall I answer to the next question, or we will be at the end Q&As? Hello?
I guess it's up to you. So, but I think it's better to wait till the Q&A time.
Okay, okay. So now I would like to pass the floor to Nurulbek, who will explain about our activities in Kazakhstan. Over to you, Nurulbek.
Thank you, Vitalina, and thank you for the presentation. Dear participants, I will continue with UNHCR's activities in Kazakhstan. Sasha, can you go to the next slide? One more slide. Yes, thank you. So UNHCR opened its representation in Kazakhstan in 1995 to assist mainly to the country to protect over 10,000 refugees the country hosted at that time. The majority of those refugees returned to their countries, and some were naturalized in Kazakhstan. As Vitalina already mentioned, Kazakhstan acceded to the 1951 Convention and its protocol in 1999. Kazakhstan, apart from that, is also party to many other international human rights instruments. The refugee law in the country was adopted in 2009 and entered into force in 2010. Since then, the government has taken full responsibility on all asylum issues in Kazakhstan, including registration, granting legal status, extending refugee status, and etc. The offices, as Italian told, in Kazakhstan we have 2 offices. One is in Almaty, multi-country. One is Sultan National Office. And in Kazakhstan we work with refugees, asylum seekers, as well as stateless persons. Sasha, can you go please? Next slide. No, back. Yes, thank you. So quick recap on statistics. As of mid-July, mid-2020, Kazakhstan hosts 510 refugees, 262 asylum seekers. The majority of them are from Afghanistan and Syria. Around 60% of the refugees, they have resided in Kazakhstan over 5 years. Some 30% reside over 10 years, and we do have refugees who are actually residing in Kazakhstan over 20 years. Out of 510 refugees, around 90 children were born in Kazakhstan. Most of the refugees, particularly from Afghanistan and Syria, they have either studied or worked in Kazakhstan before, since 90s, so they are very fluent in local languages, and they feel very well integrated in the society. All refugees in Kazakhstan, they express their willingness to stay in Kazakhstan, they link their future with Kazakhstan, and they would like to become full-fledged citizens of Kazakhstan, and by this contribute and work for the benefit of the country. The main places the refugees are concentrated are Almaty Oblast, and Shymkent. Sasha, can you go please to the next slide? Thank you. In Kazakhstan, as I told, we focus on refugee protection and eradication of statelessness. Over the years since establishment of our office, the focus of our operation gradually shifted towards advocacy and capacity building in order to assist the government in establishing well-functioning and effective asylum system in the country. We also work towards widening the range of rights in line with 1951 Convention in order to facilitate refugees' successful integration in the local society, which actually is one of the important issues facing by refugees in the host countries. We do provide legal and social assistance to refugees and asylum seekers through our partners, and I will talk about our partners later on. In statelessness front, we also support government to ensure that everyone's right to citizenship is enabled. In this regard, we assist the government in developing and strengthening legal and administrative frameworks aimed at identification, registration, and protection of stateless persons, and overall prevention and reduction of statelessness in Kazakhstan. Sasha, can you please go to next slide? Yes. Unhcr in Kazakhstan collaborates with different government authorities as well as with other UN sister agencies, NGOs, private sector, academia, community associations to maintain awareness of the international standards, protection of refugees, and reduction of statelessness in the country. In the government, our main counterpart is Migration Service Committee, which is under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, with whom we close work to provide our necessary support and expertise in the area of refugee protection and statelessness. We do have our NGO partners with whom, through whom we provide legal and social assistance to refugees and legal assistance to stateless persons throughout regions of Kazakhstan. In particular, they are Bureau for Human Rights based in Almaty, and they have also office in other regions of Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan Red Crescent Society, the same, based in Almaty, and they have different offices in throughout the country, and Sanasizm based in the southern part of the Kazakhstan. Apart from that, we also collaborate with academia. Over the past 3-4 years, we have provided lectures on refugee and statelessness topic to the master's degree students in Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, and we are still continuing this practice. We also collaborate with private sector in actually facilitating the employment of our refugees and asylum seekers. We do have actually good cooperation with one Netherlands-based company, Negal, in Almaty, which produce windows and window frames. We also collaborate with community associations such as like Afghan community in Almaty, big Afghan community, Ariana. Sasha, can you go please to the next slide? So here, as I told, thanks to our long-term relationship and cooperation with Kazakh National University, this year they agreed to provide two scholarships for our refugees. As you know, in Kazakhstan, refugees they have access to higher education, but they cannot apply to government scholarships like other citizens of the country. So it's very difficult for them to pay, and because of the high cost of the higher education. So these two refugees actually they were selected. We organized a contest among our refugees, and in terms of their essay skills, and then interview, and then in terms of their academic excellence, these two students were selected as best. One of them is the Zinat Mustafi, who lives in Almaty, and she wants to pursue her education in IT sphere. And the other one in the right side is Ahmad Farhat, who is in Shymkent, and he wants to pursue his education in international relations. Sasha, can you go please to the next slide? These are some of the photos from our refugees. As we already mentioned, every year on June 20th, we celebrate World Refugee Day. And that day we do provide different activities and events for our refugees, particular to our refugee children. So these are the photos of our refugee children who are painting and who are having some sports activities and joint events. Sasha, can you go please to the next slide? So here you see some successful stories among our refugees. On the left side, this young boy who is actually 19 years old, Talibi Armin, who is studying in one of the medical colleges in Almaty. At the same time, he managed to open his own business, barbershop. By those, he is actually supporting his family. On the right side, you see one of our former refugees who is now working as a pilot in one of the airlines in Kazakhstan. Previously he studied in the Kazakhstan Aviation Academy, and then successfully were employed by the Sunday Airlines. So by these photos, we want to show that our refugees are in Kazakhstan very talented, they're very skilled, and they can also, they're very skilled, and we do have, apart from these refugees, we do have doctors, we do have accountants, we do have refugees who are working in IT sphere, and many of our refugees actually they work in service sector. Sasha, can you go please to the next slide? Yeah, that's it actually. And if you want to learn more about Unhcr activities, globally Unhcr activities in Central Asia and in particular in Kazakhstan, you can visit these sites and social accounts. Thank you, and we are welcome for your questions.
Yes, so guys, it's time for Q&A. And actually, we have some questions in the chat box. So I can read them. Okay, can you say the main government agencies of Kazakhstan that work with Unhcr?
Yes, I can answer that. So as I told you, our main counterpart in the government, Minister of Internal Affairs, we work apart from that with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Health, Minister of Social Protection, and others.
Okay, thank you. And another question, what assistance is provided to refugees? Financial support, support with legal documents?
In Kazakhstan, we do have our NGO partners. So through our partners, we provide legal assistance, some social and limited financial assistance to the most vulnerable families. And we also provide legal assistance to undocumented stateless persons in order for them to acquire some documentation in Kazakhstan.
Okay, if you have more questions, so can you please just turn on your mic and just ask, okay?
Yes, and also we have a chat box questions. Can you read that, Fia?
There is one question. I think somebody who has no microphone. So, and it's the second time repeated the question, how to become UNHCR worker. If I may just maybe share my experience. Well, to become a UNHCR employee, you need to apply for a job. The necessary qualification, well, definitely high education. In what field? Different fields, because we have different departments, we have different units. We work together with Nurlebek, we work in protection, so we need legal background. But we have also colleagues who are working in administration and finance, in programming, so they need slightly different education and different background. But just myself, I mean, I said that I applied for a job with UNHCR in 2007. And since then, yeah, I had an opportunity to work in different countries, including in the field in Ethiopia, close to Somalia, in Iraq, in Syria, in Turkey. And now I'm happy to be here in Central Asia. But each time, yeah, just check the website. We have whatever we have vacancies available either in Central Asia, either in Kazakhstan, or in any other countries, then you can just check it and apply. And we also have globally, we have UNV opportunities for United Nations volunteers. It's run by UNDP, so if you Google UNV, UNDP, then it will be website and you can apply, and as well as internship opportunities.
Okay, yeah, and also you have one question. What about field mission? It is hard. What languages work of UNHCR should know?
Yes, well, the languages depends where you work. For example, if we have big operations in Latin America and refugees there, they speak Spanish. So as a non-Spanish speaker, I cannot communicate directly with refugees. Of course, we do have interpreters in many countries, but for me personally, as non-Spanish speaker, it would be difficult to work in Latin America. Then we have also, unfortunately, we have also displacements in Africa. So if someone speaks Arabic in Middle East or in Africa, for example, DRC, it's been ongoing for a long time, it's French. Or Chad, it's Arabic French. Here, Russian is helpful. So for me, it's really great because I do speak Russian. So you need to speak minimum English, and it's in addition, if you speak one more language, it's then easier for you to find a job. Yes, it is hard in the field because when I worked in Ethiopia, we did not have hot water. So if you wanted to have shower, we needed to boil the water first. And it's not like normal shower. You take something, then you pour on yourself. And in Ethiopia, in the field, I mean, it's lots of sand, so you can feel it on your skin. You need to shower every day, otherwise you just like fully in dust. And also, yeah, sometimes there's no electricity. Sometimes it is dangerous, but then that's why it's important to be dedicated to refugees, because otherwise it's very difficult to serve in difficult places.
Okay, and I have also one question. Can you tell about the volunteering in your organization? Is it possible for young people in volunteering?
Personally, myself, yes, we did. When I was in Iraq, we lived in the, of course, we are not, we didn't live just, I mean, we didn't walk outside of the streets. We had to move in the convoy. It was protected. But a couple of times we heard close explosions because they were rocket launched. So we had to take cover. And in 2000, I don't remember the year, I think 2008, for example, the UN premises, like the housing was bombed in Iraq. And it's until now, like when I lived, like, because you don't live in a nice house, you don't live in a building, sometimes you live in prefab, housing. So it's good if you have like all facilities. Sometimes you may share facilities. You don't have TV, but good, you always have internet, because then you need to communicate, and you have radio. So in case of danger, you have way to communicate. So.
Okay, thank you, Vitalina. And the other questions?
Have you ever been to Germany? Like, I know there are a lot of refugees right now, and government is trying to give money to refugees to make refugees immigrants or something. So do you have some office in Germany?
We do have UNHCR office in Germany. It's not a very big office because the government is in charge of asylum procedures, but we do have office there that is advocacy, like mainly it's advocacy work. I mean, I've been to Germany, but I did not work in Germany. But I did work, if you refer to 2014, 15, big, when there were many people and move to Germany. I was at the time at the border Slovenia with Austria, and many people passed through us who were going to Germany. Refugee is a refugee. I mean, the difference between migrant and refugee, migrant can go home. If he or she goes home, maybe there is no job, there is no, I don't know, no proper house, maybe there is no water, but still the person can go home, nothing will happen to this person, yeah? But for refugee, if the refugee goes home, then he or she might be killed. And so this is the big difference between migrant and refugee. And refugee, someone is a refugee because he or he meets refugee definition, not because he was given status of refugee. But refugee is someone who fled his or her country because of one of the reasons we talk about today, and he or she cannot go back, because if he or she goes back, then something may bad happen to him.
Thank you. Okay, I see.
Okay, thank you for your questions and for your answers, Vitalina. Okay, are there any questions, more questions?
What is the biggest country with refugees right now in the world?
Big country, you mean that hosting refugees, or the biggest number of refugees from which country?
Which hosts, yeah.
Host, yeah. Norveg, you want to answer? You're muted.
Turkey.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because of the Syrian crisis, actually, in the Syrian-Turkey border, there are more than around 3 million, if I'm not mistaken, refugees.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, and one more question. Have you had extreme situation at your work? I mean, dangerous ones.
Oh, I don't know what does mean like dangerous, like life, because of life dangerous. Like, yeah, when we saw like rockets falling not far away, so it's kind of dangerous. Or dangerous because of like when you're in the field and you see some spiders and you think you don't know whether this spider is a dangerous one or not, and if it bites you, then you don't have really hospital around. So just hoping that the spider will not bite it. Yes, I mean, yes, our many colleagues have this experience working in the field or going on missions. Dangerous for health. Yes, of course, because sometimes, I mean, if in the field, it's like we are responsible for our health. So we have to take good care of ourselves. And even when we work in the field, it's important to stay healthy and mentally healthy. So it's important to exercise, to watch what you eat, to eat regularly, because when you are in extreme situation, when you have hundreds, thousands of people in front of you and you feel you need to provide support or to help them, then of course you you don't eat properly. So, but it's up to us. We have to take care of ourselves. And insurance, yes, we do have health insurance as any. Our employer is quite, good. It follows all the rules. So we do have a health insurance. Thank you.
Thank you, Vitalina. Okay, we have questions, guys. Okay, if there are not questions, I will close the meeting. We have a time. Thank you, Vitalina. Thank you, Nurlubek, Olga, Alexandra, and for all your colleagues. And also, we're thankful for all participants in today's meeting. Thank you for sharing. We know more information about refugees. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for sharing and talking about the important topic nowadays. I learned a lot about refugees and difference between an asylum seeker and an ordinary refugee. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you. Follow the news of the American Corner in Instagram and the Facebook page. See you soon and stay healthy. Thank you for all.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.